Hello, and welcome to another episode of Adamo Baseball, where I'm your host, Adamo. And in this episode, mind the audio quality because I'm doing this on my tablet. I just bought this thing yesterday, and I'm going to see how well this works out. If it doesn't work out very well, I'll just use my laptop again. But I want to test this and see how well it works. Well, that's my disclaimer. And for the episode itself, I'm going to be breaking down the Tampa Bay Rays, who I think is going to go from first to worst. Mostly because they sold off most of the talent that got them to the World Series in the first place. Yes, there is still talent there, more than I was aware, but they got a lot of gaping holes. Look, I love Kevin Cash. I do. That man has made miracles happen in that town. But when you're the city that's constantly competing for the lowest payroll in baseball, it's going to catch up to you. You don't have to spend like the Yankees to get a bunch of wins, but you don't have to be the lowest bidder either. So, as I always do, let's go ahead and get started with the lineup. And at the top of the lineup, it's pretty good. It still is. Leading off, Austin Meadows. Designated hitter. He was one of the two people that came over from the Chris Archer trade to Pittsburgh, or from Pittsburgh. Chris Archer went there. It was Austin Meadows and Tyler Glasnow that went to Tampa Bay. Austin Meadows has paid off. And thus far, there's no reason to think that he shouldn't continue to do so. Normally, you don't put a designated hitter at the top of the lineup, but hey, if he's paying off, by all means, let Kevin Cash do his thing with the lineup. Number 2, Brandon Lowe, second base. So yeah, a couple years ago, I actually looked it up. He finished third in the Rookie of the Year voting. And the only reason why he didn't win it is because he only played 82 games. Had he played the whole season, you're looking at a shoe-in for Rookie of the Year. I think John Means did win it that year. Deservedly so. I've made it no secret how much I love John Means. But Brandon Lowe, he was easily the best position player to come out of that class, and he probably will still continue to do so. Whenever this contract runs out for him, don't be shocked if he gets signed away by someone who pays him some money. Number 3, Randy Rosarina. So I've kind of gone back and forth. On my podcast this past season, I made it pretty clear that I was giving that guy some love in the postseason because he was the offensive reason the Rays were able to keep up. He's why they were able to put away Houston. He's why they were able to get past the Yankees. He's the one that he's the reason they made it to Game 6 in the World Series. He was one of the reasons why they just dismantled Toronto. And he was one of the reasons why the Rays were the best team in the American League last year. And I am not sure about this, but 2021 may be his rookie qualifying season. Because I don't know that he played enough games last year to qualify as a rookie, because of what I saw, it looked like he didn't start playing till September. And he did play 19 games for St. Louis in 2019. And his numbers were pretty good, actually, for those 19 games. It looks like either the Cardinals just didn't know what they had, or there's some off-the-field issues that I don't know about. I think that he had some trouble this past offseason, but it may not have been him. So I'm just going to leave that there. But yeah, as far as playing goes, he's a stud. And he should be treated as such. Don't be surprised. Like, if he's not a rookie officially this year, because maybe he did have enough qualifying bats last year, then he's still gonna have a season that's gonna make you go. Like, don't be surprised if he's in the MVP ballot conversation. If the Rays don't finish last, he's probably one of the primary reasons why, if not the reason why. Because for the rest of the lineup, there's really... Look, those three guys, those are hands down the best three guys in the lineup. Batting fourth, Ji-Man Choi, first base. I've looked up his stats. He's not a bad player, but he's not a cleanup hitter. That's about all I really got to say about Choi. Number 5, Manuel Margot. Apparently he's a center fielder, per RotoChamp. He doesn't strike me as a guy you'd put 5th. He's actually the kind of guy you'd put closer to 2nd because, while, yeah, he does have some strikeouts, he walks a lot. I don't normally have that stat stand out to me when I'm looking at a stat sheet, but, yeah, he gets on base quite a bit through walks. So you might actually want to have him lead off. Or maybe bat 2nd so that you can get that extra guy on base if you're not trying to just pump it out of the park. And it does not look like the Rays have got... Like, they don't have home run hitters. They got guys that can physically hit home runs. Outside of Rosarina, you're not going to have a 30 home run hitter on this team. If there was, I'd be shocked. I don't see it. 6, Joe Wendell, third base. I looked him up. If I recall correctly, I remember him striking out a lot. But I don't remember much else. Usually when you got a guy that strikes out a lot, you expect some payoff with the power. No. Number 7, Willie Adams, shortstop. He's one of the... I think I remember saying this last year. He's one of those guys that you got him on the team for fielding purposes. You know, he's a shortstop. He's the busiest guy on the field, that's not either the pitcher or the catcher. So, yeah, he's definitely one of those guys you have for fielding purposes, not for hitting purposes. Number 8, Kevin Kiermeier. He actually has played center field most of his career. That's why I was confused about Manuel Margot being listed as a center fielder, because Kevin Kiermeier has played center his whole career for Tampa Bay, unless they intend to move him to either, to one of the corners, which I wouldn't know why. He's on the team for fielding purposes, because he's not a great hitter. He's got a lot of similarities with JBJ. He's a bit better, he's a better hitter than Bradley, but he doesn't have quite as strong of an arm. So really, but other than that, the comparisons are pretty similar. And number 9, Mike Zunino, catcher. Again, this is a primary... I remember saying this last year. He's a primary example of you pay him for what he does behind the plate, not beside it. His career batting average is right around 200. he's there to keep the pitching staff straight. Like, this guy caught for King Felix when King Felix is actually good, like in his prime. Well, the tail end of his prime. He was catching for Blake Snell last year. He's been catching for Tyler Glasnow. The dude knows how to catch, but he's not a hitter. Then for the rotation, you've got, top of the rotation, Tyler Glasnow. Actually, you look at his stats, he did not pitch well in the postseason last year. At all. I was looking forward to, listening to the games, listening to him throw in the World Series. It wasn't just the World Series, the playoffs altogether. I don't think he let the pressure of the playoffs get to him. I think he just wasn't that good in the postseason. And then he had a stellar 2019. I mentioned that he and Austin Meadows came over from Pittsburgh in the Chris Archer trade. He's actually not a number one guy in the rotation. They're having to move him to number one in the rotation because Blake Snell was traded. But he's not a one guy in the rotation. He's actually closer to a 3. He had a great 2019, but outside of that, his ERA is over 4. His career ERA, I think, is 4.06. You don't want that from your ace in the hole. So, I would love to be proven wrong. I don't think he's going to have a good year. I think this year is actually going to work out very poorly for him. Number 2, a guy I've been high on most of his career, but he's reaching the end. Rich Hill. I remember talking last year about how he had that game that should have been a perfect game. He lost it in the bottom of the 9th because, bottom of the 9th, because Jordy Mercer reached on a fielding error. Then he ended up losing the game by giving up a leadoff home run in the bottom of the 10th. He had no run support from the Dodgers in that game. The Dodgers! The team you expect to put up 12 runs per game. Okay, not quite that, but you get the point. And so when I was looking at his stat sheet, he's entering his age 41 season. Meaning the Rays probably gave him, I won't say the minimum contract, but definitely a lower end one. Because while, yes, he actually has pitched very well over the last several years, I'm not just talking about that experience. You look at his old stat sheet, and the last several years have been very good for him. But this is probably his last season. He's been pitching since 2005, and this is probably his last go. There hasn't been any speculation over that because he's not like a Clayton Kershaw. But don't be surprised if he decides, you know what? This is it. This is my last rodeo. Number 3 in the rotation. This is just a twist of irony. Chris Archer. They got him back. He's 3rd in the rotation. And ever since the first couple of years of his career, he hasn't done anything. He has not been the ace that everyone was talking about him being for a long time. He did not pay off in Pittsburgh. He did not pay off near the end of his career or end of his time the first time around in Tampa, and I don't see him getting better. He could. I've mentioned multiple times in this episode alone, Kevin Cash works wonders. But I don't know that he's going to be able to fix that. Number 4, Ryan Yarborough. So this is an interesting scenario. Sometimes he's used as an opener, sometimes he's used as a full-on starter. And he actually has succeeded in both roles. You can throw him in there for 5 innings, and he'll get you 5 solid innings, and possibly a win. Put him as an opener, and you run the bullpen from that point on. Yarborough is aware of his role, and he's not bad at it. I think he has run out of the bullpen, and he's not bad at it. Like, he really actually is pretty good. So if you're going to have a guy who actually ends up having a surprisingly good year, it's probably going to be him. He was pretty good last year for the Rays on their World Series run. So don't be surprised. Number 5 in the rotation, Michael Walka. Yes, I know I'm saying his name right, because I remember hearing his name being called for the St. Louis Cardinals for a long, long time. And he's not going in the right direction. He could have a breakout year, but I don't see it. He's not... I think he's right where he needs to be in the rotation, only he's the kind of pitcher that may have your 5th guy in the rotation be even, which generally you're considered pretty lucky if you do. But yeah, he's probably going to have the Rays, or a starting pitcher record of about like 8-9, 10-10, maybe 11-9. But he's not a stud. So yeah, outside of Ryan Yarborough, I don't see this rotation being able to do much. The irony is, I recognize every single one of the names on this rotation. That doesn't happen very much. I recognize every single one of these names. And you got a couple of guys that are going to get you 12 wins. But they don't have a 20-game winner this year. They're not. Their closer is Peter Fairbanks. He was really good last year, specifically in the postseason. He may end up being remembered as an October hero, because while the Rays didn't win the World Series, he did pitch very well. Like, specifically in the 2020 postseason, he was one of the guys that got them to the World Series. So don't be surprised if Peter Fairbanks... It could go either way, honestly. He may have found his groove, which it's not common for October heroes to do that, but it does happen. And he may have found his groove, and he may be able to succeed as a regular closer. He also is very young, so he doesn't have a ton of experience. And it looks like he's going to maintain his role as the closer for the Rays. And I wish him all the best. For the bullpen, I only wrote down one name. Colin McHugh. Alright, so for what I recall, he was one of the guys who opted out of 2020 for obvious reasons. He was a starter most of his career in Houston, and he was good at it. He wasn't great. When he got moved to the bullpen, he actually got better. That's not a common occurrence. He did get better as a starter or as a bullpen guy in Houston. So, yeah, he actually... I mentioned that Yarborough sometimes is used as an opener. They may use Yarborough as an opener and let Colin McHugh do most of the grunt work throughout the meat and potatoes of the game. So don't be surprised if you see a lot of that this year from Tampa. So, look, my overall view of this team, it's no secret there's talent, but every team's got talent, and their talent, for the most part, is top heavy. There's not a lot to go around behind it. You're looking at a team that's got 3 guys at the top of the lineup. You got maybe 2 in the rotation that can have a great year. If 3 guys have a great year out of the rotation, I'd be shocked. And you got a couple of guys in the bullpen that are pretty good, but I only pull the best guys out of the bullpen whenever I'm talking about this, and I do not see the rest of the Rays bullpen being all that great. So I'm seeing this team seriously regressing this upcoming year. As always, I love being proven wrong, much like scientists in that regard. If you're not being proven wrong, then you're not doing your job right. So I expect this team to finish last in the East. I don't think they're going to be competitive. I think they're going to win some games that they shouldn't, but they're a far cry from last year or the 2019 season. This is not a good team. But they've proven me wrong before. I thought they were going to be good last year, and they were. I think that's about all I have to say on the Rays. If you'd like to let me know what you think, I'm still trying to get my Twitter situation worked out. You can leave me a comment down below on my YouTube channel, since I'm releasing these episodes on YouTube now. You can let me know how you feel about me using this tablet, though I will probably have sorted that out by the time this airs. And you can also let me know via email, or actually you can go to my blog website where you can leave a comment there. eladamo89.wix site. I don't remember the rest, but it's in my link on my Anchor, and I'll link it down below. And if you liked it, give me a like. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Unlike most YouTubers, I'm actually willing to say that. So, with all that being said, thank you for listening or watching. Cheers until next time.